everyone, I'm Brian Mercer, one of the authors of Quantitative Literacy, and in this video I'm going to walk through just really what a typical lesson looks like in our text. Each of the lessons starts off with a list of learning objectives, followed by a funny or interesting quote, and then the opening paragraph, which is really designed to give an opportunity at letting students practice with a little bit of reading comprehension. We find that there are a variety of ways that instructors make use of this, ranging from some instructors don't do much at all with it, and some instructors will actually have their students read through this paragraph at the start of class, sort of in groups, and then have a brief discussion. What I typically do is have my students, I assign them to read it before class, but I'll have my students discuss it very briefly right at the start of class, and then I might call on one or two groups just to share what they got out of that paragraph. And again, really that was just something that we put in there. We wanted students to get practice with just some basic reading comprehension. And then the main part of the lesson is broken into two parts. You'll see a class part and a group part. Both of those parts are done in class, and for me, both of those parts are done still with my students in the group setting. Some instructors choose to treat the class part as an opportunity for a mini lecture. Some instructors, on the other hand, do as I have done, which is keep their students working in groups even during the class part of the lesson. The distinction in our minds was that the class part had a particular skill or particular idea that the instructor would need to pay careful attention to, and students might require some additional guidance. As you look through the lessons, you'll see that the questions are laid out for students with hopefully just the right amount of scaffolding to allow students the opportunity to work through the questions with, in some cases, minimal help from the instructor. As you look at this particular lesson, what I would do is have my students work on, in this case, the first 8 questions, and after question 8, that's where you will see the first "Did you get it?" question. These questions were put in at users' request to give students the extra opportunity to practice some of the skills they've been working on in class. The answers to the "Did you get it?" questions are provided to students. You will notice that the answers to the class and group questions are not available to students until the instructor makes them available through one way or another. Another reason I would have my students work up through question 8 in this lesson is that's a natural stopping point. And one of the things that I try to do is to keep my groups roughly at the same place. And so by instructing them to work up through question 8 and then we'll present questions or present answers on the board, that gives all of the students an opportunity to catch their breath and check answers and make sure that they're all on the same page before moving on. A little while later in that class portion, right at the end of question 12, is where you'll notice one of the teaching tips that we've included for instructors. Students just need a little nudge when making a pie chart by hand. The group part of this lesson begins with asking students to use data from the class poll about their feelings towards math to work through the entire process of building a table and making a pie chart. In the group portion, I take a little bit more of a hands-off approach. I'm there for guidance, but I don't feel that I'm there to tell students exactly what to do. I want them to feel a little bit of struggle as they work through the group portions of the lessons. Wherever you see one of the technology boxes, I always tell my instructors that that's a tip for students and for instructors. The way I handle these is when they come up, either myself or I'll ask for a student volunteer to go to the front of the room and work through the procedure on the instructor computer, allowing other students to ask questions as they go. I also point out the help videos that are available in the resources for this lesson. This lesson finishes with a group of questions on interpreting pie charts. This again makes a nice grouping where I'll ask students to start and stop roughly at the same time on the same group of problems. Those that finish early are encouraged to try the "Did you get it?" questions. The thing I hope you take away from this is that we put these materials together with the group format in mind. So what we tried for was putting materials together that would work well for those who are comfortable with the group format, and that would also allow those who weren't necessarily comfortable with the group format to ease into it naturally. What we tried to do was put together materials that would be flexible enough to work for a lot of different styles. I hope you found this video helpful, and in the next one I'm going to talk more about the assignments and how the portfolio page works with Connect hosted by ALEKS, our online homework system.